What's up, everybody? Matt Colin with Dad and Perfect here. Hey, sorry for the delay in getting back to you. You know, it's been a couple of weeks. If you saw my last video, you know that I mentioned that I had skin cancer, and I got a lot of questions from people, so I thought I would put together a little video on, you know, what I had and give you guys kind of an update. Probably do this in a couple of videos because there's a lot here, and I know everybody's attention span's about this long, so here's my story. So one of the first questions I got was, what did I have? Well, I had what's called DFSP, which stands for dermatofibrosarcoma protuberans. Say that 10 times fast. So what is DFSP? DFSP is a type of skin cancer that grows in the mid-tissue of the skin, and it typically does not metastasize, meaning that it doesn't spread to other parts of your body. There's less than 1,000 cases of it per year in the United States, so it's super rare. And it generally starts from some type of skin trauma that has happened to the skin. And then it needs to be excised out of the skin or out of your body. So surgery is usually required, and you have to get clear margins. So when did I notice that I had it? Well, I had a birthmark in the middle of my back that back in the 7th grade, someone came up in school, hit me in the middle of my back, right, and it hit right on the birthmark, and it left an indentation. And the best way I could describe it looked kind of like a gunshot wound. So I had it for over 30 years, and I had various doctors look at it, but you know, it never grew or changed. And this year, it just felt a little bit different to me, and I had my wife take a picture of it, and when I looked at it, it just kind of looked different and had some color to it. And so I decided to go see a dermatologist and have her take a look at it. And as soon as she saw it, she was like, yeah, that needs to come out right away, like right now. And to be honest with you, it was kind of scary. And, you know, I didn't know what it was. We didn't know what it was. And I would say the worst part of this whole ordeal was the 5 days that I ended up having to wait after the biopsy to find out what this was. It was one of those things where you write the narrative of like the worst possible thing that could ever happen, and you think you're gonna die, and you're counting the days and the months and the years, like how much time do I have left in this world? So that would be what I would say is probably the hardest of all of this. So how did I end up with a hole the size of a cantaloupe in the middle of my back? Well, because DFSP is so rare, it requires surgery and it has to be cut out. And so what ended up happening was, because they don't know how big it is, and if I really had this for 30 some years, they are kind of surgically going in blindly, and they're cutting out tissue in hopes of getting clear margins. And then because there isn't a lot of information about it, the process of getting clear margins, you have to send it off to a lab. It takes about 24 hours for them to process it. So I would go into surgery, they would send the tissue off to the pathologist, and then they would come back and say whether or not we had clear margins. So how big was it? It was big. It ended up being about 16 centimeters in diameter and about 5 centimeters deep. And if you look at the picture, I mean, I look like Octo-Man from Spider-Man, and what you're seeing there is it's a black sponge that they put inside of the wound, and then they hook a vacuum up to it, and that sucks everything sort of out of there, and it keeps the wound clean and keeps the bacteria out. And I'll never forget the first time my wife took a picture of it and showed me. I was like, whoa, that's huge. And the other weird part was when I would feel back there, like I could feel how deep it was, and that was a weird, crazy sensation, like how deep this thing went in my back. And the picture doesn't quite give it justice in terms of how deep that it really was, but it was big.